Hey everybody, my name's Joe Testa. Very excited about today's show. I hope you guys are as well. Judging by the comments, it looks as though you are, so it's very exciting. Just want to acknowledge Scott Quiddy and Mission Control helping us with all this stuff and maybe pay a few bills before we get going here. Just one thing to remind you guys of, if you have questions for Matt, please hit us up and we'll try to gather those, and if we get to some time at the end, we'll hit those. First thing I wanted to let you know about was today, for the next 24 hours, if you go to vicfirth.com, you can get 15% off any signature sticks. All you need to do is use the code VF Signature and go buy tons and tons of Matt's stick. You can also get other people's sticks too, but Matt's sticks, he'd probably be very happy today if you did buy some of his sticks. So, but that's for the next 24 hours at vicfirth.com, 15% off on all signature sticks. Just use the code VF Signature. All right. I am not going to do a long intro here because I want to get to this as soon as possible. I think most of you already know who Matt Garstka is. We're very excited and honored to have him today, and I've been trying to get him for a while. And we were trying to put him in as part of our VF Jams tributes that we did, but timing just didn't work out with his schedule. So we will hit some of that today. So let's dive into that now. So let's bring Matt on now. Matt, how are you, brother?
Greetings. I'm good.
Where are you right now?
I'm in my practice space. I rent a space in a rehearsal facility, basically a little commune of drummers.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool setup. When we're
Yeah,
testing
it's
some of the
not
stuff, it
bad.
sounded great. No, it's cool.
Yeah,
How you been? How you doing with all this stuff? Doing all right?
I'm good. Yeah.
Staying
Uh,
healthy?
yes, I am. That's one thing I'm definitely focused on:
Yeah,
staying healthy and eating right, working out,
yeah,
practicing, staying on that shit.
yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I was just telling everybody a little bit that we had tried to get you on some of the VF Jams reunions, but the schedules just weren't working out. So if you're cool with it, I'd like to start off with a little bit of that, because your performance, I actually would like people to hear a little bit about your interpretation of that day and how that went, if you recall some stuff that stood out for you.
I
Um,
do.
yeah. Well, let's first, before we do any, let's watch the first clip of it, and then we'll get into some of your memories of it, and break down maybe some of the grooves there and stuff. So let's roll that first clip.
Let's do it.
Yeah, very cool. I remember when
Some funk.
when I first heard that tune, I was like, that was not what I was expecting for you. Which,
Yeah, I guess I guess most other people were like, let me do my thing or whatever. And I'm like, yo, I do my thing all the time
yeah,
on the road with animals as leaders and in my clinics. And, it's going to be a full fucking band. Like, let me do something that people usually don't associate me with, but that I fucking love, which is some Afrobeat stuff,
yeah,
some African shit.
yeah, it was great. And with Weedy there, have you did you play? Have you played a lot with percussionists in the past? Was this
Not really, no. Well,
Because the way
actually,
you guys interacted was awesome.
I was
Like,
in a Senegalese. Okay, yes, I have. I totally didn't even fucking think about it. Yes, I have. My mentor Joe Salins, he was a percussionist first and foremost. Like he also played bass and keys, at the same time. But like he was mostly like started out as a percussionist. So we do these fucking drum jams all the time. Um, and we do like school programs all over the Northeast, and they were basically like going to public schools and like having like a team building exercise is basically what it was, but it was with drums. So we'd also do like a performance thing, and we'd have like calls and answers, and that's big in African drumming. And then I was in a Senegalese hip hop band. It's like traditional and hip hop, and those guys are from Senegal, West Africa, and yeah, there's like these things that they would have that were like these long, linear phrases, kind of like in Indian drumming has the same sort of thing, like these longer phrases that people memorize. And so, like, yeah, we'd play these unison lines. We'd also do like some back and forth, but yeah, I guess I have, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the way you guys interacted was so great.
He's
So
sick. He's just
yeah,
sick as fuck.
yeah,
Like, it's one thing, like, if there's just some percussionist, like, I'm not that stoked. But if the guy is sick, I'm all about it. And Weedy was bringing some shit. I was like,
yeah, he's unbelievable, man. And so tell me a little bit about the day. Like, what are some of your memories of that day?
The biggest thing for me was that I was sitting on stage, like trying to prep my kit or whatever, you know, because we had like a fast change. It was all in one day. I don't know if people know this. It's all in one day, so we got to like fucking go from one person to the next. It's like, you know, you get one, maybe 2 takes. That's what we got, 2 takes, or what I got. But yeah, right before I started, Ben comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, yeah, Dave Weckl, he's in the recording. He's in the room back there. Yeah, and he's so he's gonna listen to you." And I was like, "Yo, don't fuck with me, dude. Like, what? Are you fucking with my head right now? Are you trying to get inside my head? Because it's working." He's like, "Yeah, Peter Erskine's back there too." I'm like, "Dude, what do you like?" It definitely made me nervous. I was like, shit, that's my hero. You know, he's one of my number one heroes, like for all of time. You know, you go through phases where it's like, you know, you got a Dave Weckl phase, you got a Steve Gadd phase, you got a Billy Cobham phase, you got a Dennis Chambers phase, you got a Vinnie Colaiuta phase, and like some of these guys you keep going back and revisiting and doing the phase again. And Dave was like that. It's like I just kept always coming back, and it's like, yeah, he's one of the fucking legendary greats of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was actually. I remember standing next to him, and well, actually, him and Peter in the control room, and they were like, "This is amazing!" Like they were blown away. They really loved it.
Damn.
They really were digging it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember coming out after you found out, and you're like, "Are you messing with me, man? What are you doing?" You got a chance to meet. I remember you were in the control. We got a cool picture. I remember we took a picture of you guys, so it was cool. It was a good time.
Yeah.
So. But that was a cool choice.
Like he recommended me for the drum camp, the ultimate
fantasy camp.
Yeah, the fantasy camp. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know, like he has a jam like over here in Woodland Hills. I live in, well, this is in West LA, so I gotta like commute like 40 minutes to my place, but I live in Woodland Hills. And that's like apparently right around where he lives.
Yeah.
And so like I went to this, you know, little jam there, and it was like a fucking jazz jam. So I don't know. I've gotten to chat with him on a few occasions.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And it's cool that he respects me, and like, it's like, damn, I gotta come correct. I gotta not make you regret.
You got to live up to it.
In my playing.
Well, he did that day for sure. And so the tune, how did that tune come about? Like what the song choice and all that? Like, did you write that, or Spot wrote that?
No, Spot wrote that. He wrote every bit of that. Yeah. I had really nothing to do with it other than like, yo, let's play some like Bryce Wassey type shit, or Fela Kuti type shit. Yeah. Those were like the 2 references that I gave him, and he's like, "Yo, you fuck with Tony Allen," and then I'm like,
I know,
yeah, I've heard of him, but like I'd never really dived in. Like I dove into Fela Kuti and
Yeah.
same with Bryce Wassey. But so anyways, that was like the only reference that I gave him, and he like comes back with this, this the slow part, and I'm like, I'm all for it. Like I just want to fucking groove and feel some shit.
So
And
break that
then
groove. Can you break that groove down? Do you remember it
it's in
offhand?
3/4.
Yeah.
It's a kick on the one, a kick on the of one, and then a snare on the of two. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and a 1 E and 2 E and 3 don't get the bone get. But the whole African thing is like the reason why they fucking love 3/4 and 6/8 and 4/4 is because like you can play triplets in 4/4. You can feel it that way. You can feel it as it's basically just groupings. You can feel it as 6 groups of 2, which is 6/8. Don't. Or feel it don't, which is triplets in 4, and then 3/4 don't. So
yeah, it's cool.
it's kind of like
So
you want to straddle that line. So one cool thing to do, actually a bunch of the patterns that I have are loops today. 2 of them actually. They're in 6, and that's one of the things that I really love to do is like feel it in 3/4, and then take a phrase that is from 3/4 and play it in a triplet context. Like then take something that's like, or take something from like 4 triplets in 4/4. That's real easy, right? Like what's a don't so let's say that don't. Now you put it in 3/4. Don't. So like you keep doing that, and you go to 3/4 and make up some shit there, and then play it as if it like in a triplet 4/4 context, and keep cross breeding them basically, and you can seamlessly switch between feels, and it just like also it just opens up things like even if you're not trying to give the illusion of a metric modulation, you can just feed your playing so that you have more motifs, phrases, placements to play with in each of those time signatures.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Oh, and then it changes. The song changes. Like I'm gonna play the second section.
That's
which
just
I think
16ths and 4.
Yeah, it changes, but it's a cool change. Like it's like whoa. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like Scotty, play that. I love that transition between one into the second section, and Mark just crushes. Mark and Weedy just crushing that.
Yeah.
So good.
My biceps aren't as big, and neither are my traps. I wasn't working on my traps as much.
You got it going on now, man.
Yeah.
So,
and I always like, you know what I do? Like I work out like 6 days a week, and then when I have something like the VF Jam thing, or like any recording session, basically, like I'll taper off and I won't really work out as much. And dropping that like allows extra energy, you know? Or it's
Oh, that's
just I'm
cool.
used to a higher output of energy, so like, you know, and it's kind of like also like yeah, lifting weights can make me a little stiff, you know? So,
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that because you have been lifting a lot. It looks like. Um,
yeah.
do you find that kind of restricts your playing? Like get you know what I mean? If you get too bulky, like you said, you get stiff. So how do you
Yeah,
stay limber so that you
it
don't have that issue?
can. Yeah, it can. I've definitely heard that from guys. Um I mean, it's like harder to your cardio goes to shit because it once you put on more muscle, once you have more, your body requires more energy just to have homeostasis. That's one
Mhm.
of the benefits is you can eat more and eat more shit and not be as impacted. But like the biggest thing is the energy. Like it just takes away energy that you could otherwise be like physically investing into the drums. So, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm glad I did it the way I did. I would not have wanted to be like bigger in my early 20s because I was just so focused on drums. It's like, I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I
That
did
makes
it.
sense. And you said, but you
Now I'm
said,
kind of like, you know, I can only do like 4 to 6 hours a day, anyways, because it's like you know, the years have taken a toll on my hands. So
yeah.
I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm not an old fuck, but you know,
Not as old as me. Um, you said you'd also been eating well.
oh yeah.
What is that? What do you mean by that? What are you doing differently
So
eating wise?
like, I'm basically on a bodybuilder diet where it's like they eat rice, chicken, potatoes, eggs, well, egg whites, um, whey protein, raspberries, um, tilapia.
Hmm.
Uh, that's pretty much fucking it. Some steak in
Yeah,
there too.
yeah.
Definitely some red
High
meat in there.
protein, a lot of protein there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
basically.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Um, so going back, you said you had some
Yeah.
loops with that are in 3, 6, 8, 3, 4. You want to
I
give an
do.
example of one of those since we're on
Uh
that topic?
yeah, yeah. Let me fuck around and show some shit. People they probably want to see that, you know? They're like, shut the hell up. We don't care what you eat for your diet, bro. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna start with this one. This is in six. It's at 144 BPM. Kind of a random BPM, but whatever.
Yeah, man. Oh, that was
I
awesome.
got a little tangled up there on one of those displacements.
Yeah. Well,
I think it
nobody
was
seemed
the
to mind.
it was the like if I'm looking at it like triplets in four, you know, the one and a two and a three and a four. I'm on that instead of all on the downbeats. Don't stick the gat, stick don't that. Don't stick the gat, stick don't the gat. Don't stick the gat, stick don't the stick gat. Don't stick the gat, stick don't gat. Don't.
Where did you come up with that? Like, I mean, I know it's like kind of there,
I
but
didn't
like,
come up with it.
yeah, no, but like, were
It's
you
been around a
introduced to
long
that?
time. It's just a displacement.
Yeah. But where were you introduced with that first? Do you recall? Like, was that at school? Was it just on your own?
I was actually taught it originally as permutation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you look up permutation in the dictionary, it says like to alter the linear order of something. But that's not really what's happening in drumming. What's happening in drumming is just we're starting at a different point. The pattern remains the same. You just start at a different point in the pattern. Or you can look at it that you're starting the pattern at a different point in the bar.
Mm.
Whatever helps you wrap your head around it more.
And how did you get really comfortable with being able to do that? Is it just you just got to spend the hours doing it?
Slow.
Yeah,
Slow. I need to
breaking it
slow my
down.
shit down right now. I feel like I'm not like 100%. It's not fucking airtight. I want that shit, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I
Well,
got caught
in
up.
all fairness, we kind of got you a little early your time, and
I am
you
not
jumped
warmed
right
up.
in.
I did boxing before this, so I'm like a little bit like, yeah, it taxes me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, no one seems to be minding it. So
Good.
let's jump back a little bit back to your start there. Like I think if I recall correctly, your dad or was your both your parents musicians or just your dad?
Just my dad.
And he was a guitar player.
Guitar, yeah. He was playing in bar bands when I was a little kid. And then when I was 8 years old, he bought a music store.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool. So you grew up in a music store.
I did. That's how I started playing drums. They couldn't afford a babysitter, so I'd just go to work with them, and they'd stick me somewhere. Uh, stick me in the basement to break down boxes in the asbestos basement, or
Yeah.
they'd fucking be like, "All right, go fucking." Sometimes, they had me doing guitar lessons, and it was not like I just could only play like a couple things on guitar. So when I sat down, it's like I just play the same thing every time. It was boring as shit to me. I remember having that feeling and being like frustrated.
Yeah.
Like I remember this memory vividly. That might be all I remember from guitar. But then one day I sat down on the drums over in the drum jungle. So there was like two kind of parts of the store. They kept the drummers separate, the loud motherfuckers. And so I don't know. I sat down one day and I started like going, and I was like, what if I didn't hit the bass drum with the snare, And like me altering that pattern was like, this is my instrument. I didn't know that it was called creative on there, but like I was like, I can do things on this instrument and I can change things. Like that's what I want. So that was like definitely the moment for me when I was like, I gotta switch to drums, mom and dad, and it was just about convincing them. And I was 8.
Were they cool
But
with it?
I didn't get serious though, like until like they still got me lessons, and I loved annoying the fuck out of people, just tapping on everything. That was probably part of it, and I wasn't serious until I was like 14, and I was like, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's funny. I didn't know about the music store thing. That's awesome. And so then when
Yeah.
do you now that's all in Massachusetts, right?
Yep. Western
So
Mass.
so then when did you connect with Berklee? How does that did you meet Bob first and then go to Berklee, or did you meet Bob at
Yes.
Berklee?
No. I started taking from Bob Galati. My dad had figured out some some way that like, hey, there's a really good jet. Like I wanted to work on my weaknesses. I had to work on my weaknesses. So it's like jazz was my weakness. So I was like, all right, gonna get lessons with this guy Bob Galati out in Boston, and he's the shit. And it's a 2 hour drive that we're gonna do every couple weeks, but it's gonna be worth it, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, he was organized. He had, all the stuff written down in his lesson book of what we worked on last week, what we're doing now. He had like permutations that he gave me. He started giving me a random sheet, which was like, well, he gave me the table of time first, and it was just like one note per quarter, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to I think it was like 15. So that was like definitely eye opening for me at the time. I was like 16, I think.
Hmm.
And it was like, whoa, there's such thing as quintuplets. Like that was crazy. And then he was also, of course, giving me jazz shit. Like he was making me work out of the Omni book. I was playing Charlie Parker saxophone solos on the drums.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
went through
he
like
was so
80 of
great.
those. Yeah, you guys have had him at Zildjian,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good man. Or was.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
passed.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Um that was kind of a shocker for everybody. And even some of the guys we work with studied with him too, like
Yeah.
Christian and stuff like that. So
He was life
yeah,
changing for me. I
yeah.
wouldn't be where I'm at now if it wasn't
Yeah, a
for
lot of
him
people say the same thing.
and that material and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so he obviously just helped you decide to go to Berkeley, I assume.
Yeah, I think so. I was
Just
kind of
by
already like, I had heard about Berkeley and that, Al Di Meola, Chick's guitar player, had gotten picked up from Chick there, and I was like, if I go there, maybe I could get picked up by Chicory. That was my dream gig, Chicory. That was my number one dream gig. Still
yeah,
kind of
he's
is.
yeah, I could see
But
that.
I don't know. Yeah, I think the solidifying moment for me to go to Berklee was when I went to do a tour of their facilities in college, and we went into this percussion basement. It was in the 1140 Boylston building, and they're like, "Yeah, in here, they're having a double bass drum lab right now," and I'm like, "Whoa, hold on." You guys have a double bass drumming class? And they're like, yeah, we do. We're fucking Berklee. Big deal. And
Yeah,
I was like, this is my, that's when I like turned to my dad. I'm like, I have to do. Because it's like, yo, what other school is going to teach contemporary shit, And
yeah,
look where I'm at. Like,
yeah.
what if I went to some jazz school that never taught a goddamn double bass pattern
Yeah.
ever,
Did you were you there the whole 4 years, or did you? How long were you there?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
did 4 years.
I
Wow.
graduated. I I was supposed to get my degree, but I got a diploma, technically speaking, because I didn't want to do the like the liberal arts. There's 10 liberal arts classes that you need, and I had taken like 3 of them, and I'm like, damn, I'm paying so much fucking money right now, and I could take these liberal arts classes somewhere else. So I tried to do that in the 7th semester, my 4th year. Yeah, I was like, this is not the play. It was at a community college, and I'm like, this is not what I want in my fucking
Yeah.
life. I'm like, why the fuck am I? And I'm also realizing, like, I mean, all my teachers had told me, like, what you can do with a degree from Berklee? You can, or any music degree, you can wipe your ass with. That's what you can do. Like, literally, this is what they're saying. Like, this is real. This is people with music degrees. from
Wow.
fucking Hart School of Music in Connecticut. You know, it's like, all right, maybe it's not as important the fucking piece of paper, and it's more important that I'm on my shit and that I'm in tip-top shape and the sickest motherfucker so I can get the gig. So I dropped out of community college. This is a dirty little secret that I've never told anybody before. And then, yeah, then I did my 8th semester. I finished up and got the credits that I could get to get the diploma. If I wanted to right now, all I gotta, like, as far as music classes are concerned, I'm missing History of Western Music 2 and 7 liberal arts classes that have nothing to do with music. So I like went through the full Berklee thing, the full education. I was like, is that me? Yeah, I'm in a practice studio.
Yeah.
So
They don't hear
random drums.
Yeah. So that's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm cussing a lot. Somebody said something about me cussing.
Yeah, I got a couple notes there too. Maybe just for the kids.
Oh yeah, yep. Sometimes I forget. Yep, it's bad.
So question for you on that. So
It's just natural, you know. It's my natural vernacular. Dude, it's a problem. Sometimes I swear in front of my girlfriend's grandma, you know, like all the girlfriends that I've ever met, that I've ever had. Like,
that's why there's many.
Like, it's like, yo, keep me away from your grandma because I'll swear in front of her.
Okay. So hey, so you get done with Berklee, and then you go straight from Berklee to LA.
Pretty much. I graduated in May, and then I recorded that Defense Mechanisms album with Louis DeMille and Casimir Lebersky. And then, yeah, just like did as many gigs as I could, taught as much as I could, just save up. I saved up 6 G's, which I was like, yo.
It's impressive.
Yeah, for a college student,
Yeah,
who's just playing
at
music.
Berklee.
You know? And like my first year too, like I put down like $5,500 for college. It was like, I want to make this work. Like this has got to be it. So I basically, I put down 5.5 G's for the first year, and that was kind of what we had to do. You know, like it wasn't an easy decision for me or my family. But anyways, yeah, I moved out to Berklee or to Cali in at the end of 2011, and I don't know.
Now, what was the reason for going? I mean, other than the obvious, was there a specific reason that brought you to LA, or was it just because that's where you go for music?
I mean, there's New York and there's LA. And that's what I was told. And I mean, things are changing now. Honestly, like people become Instagram famous or YouTube famous, or they get gigs that way, or they, you know, there's other cities that things can pop off, but like the majority of tours are being deployed out of LA.
Yep, that's true.
I don't know how long that's gonna last with this shit going on. And how expensive LA is and is getting. But, you know, that was the truth then. I guess 9 years ago. So I was like, you know, I'm from Massachusetts. I can always move back in with my parents and be a drum bum. And like, you know, commute to New York or figure that out. Like, that's going to be easier. So let me do what's hardest right now, which is to go to fucking LA and see if I can make something happen.
Yeah. And how soon after you got there did you connect with Tosin and Animals?
A couple months after.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It fucking is. And I was running out of money because it was like, I mean, me and my sister, she came with me. She's like, I'm going with you. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I'm like, I can see why. So like we packed
She a musician also?
No,
No,
she's a dancer, but she's got a business degree.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what she needed to get out of
Western
Western Mass. It was like, I need to get out of this small town. I don't want to be in a small town the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So we went out there and, drove 3,000 miles across the country. And the first day that we get into LA, she's like kind of, pulls out, like we're coming off an off ramp and there's a truck here and she just pulls out anyways. And a fucking van, bam, hits the front and just the front end goes like this, Like that's what it looked like. It just...
Wow.
Yeah, it looked like that. So, totaled. My Volvo, my 95 Volvo station wagon, which was very dear to me, had some memories in that thing. That was totaled. So that was like the start of our LA experience. It's like, yeah, this is gonna go good. This is gonna go good. Just stay positive. We can get through this.
It can't get worse than this.
Yes,
can only go
uphill from here.
Only uphill from here.
I don't know.
Funny.
Yeah. I was doing like church gigs. I was doing like some random shit. And I even once, I went to a gig I got called for. I was going to all the jams. I was going to the Baked Potato. I was going to Cafe Cordial. And, man, I got called for this one gig. And it was like this girl singer, this young, like 16-year-old singer. And this guy that was like very flamboyant on the keys, and he's like the director, and he's like, okay, so like, and he would play this thing. He was full of shit. Like, I've never seen a player be so full of shit, like to where they screw up, and then they're like, oh, you didn't come in. Like, they just keep blaming it, and I'm like, no. I'm like, you definitely messed that up. Like, you definitely didn't play the same amount of bars that you did last time. Like, I was counting. So this guy was kind of pissing me off. So like the night of the gig, like I show up or whatever, because that was like the rehearsal. And so I don't know, it might have been earlier that day, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play this gig. And he's like, what? You're going to leave now? How are you going to... Like, and he just like couldn't believe it. But for myself, I knew that I couldn't do this mentally. Like, I couldn't play this gig. And I was broke as shit. It's not like I didn't need the fucking money. Like, I needed the money. I was just like, for myself, like, I know that I need to not take this shit and to find something else that's actually invest my time into something that's gonna like build my future that I could have a future in, like not this motherfucker that's full of shit. Sorry. Oh my God, my cussing. Sorry. Not this guy who was clearly
full of it.
Smoke screening.
So,
his own mess ups.
So then you got the gig with Animals, and that just took everything another direction for you.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I just got the gig with Animals. It was like a process, trying out for them and learning that stuff. And so I basically was just prepping as much as I could and investing as much time as I could into it. And I think it might have been around that time that I had that gig, and I was like why am I wasting? I feel like I'm wasting my time doing this crap instead of prepping for Animals or doing, I knew there was something more. It was a weird like,
it's a fork in the road. You had to make a decision.
I didn't have to.
Well, but
I felt, for me mentally, I did.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you made the right decision.
I definitely did.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely like, sick. Good job, 22-year-old Matt, 23-year-old Matt.
So what was maybe play an example of something the first thing you had to do at Animals. Give us something that you have to play. I'd like to see, because I know you had to learn some other person's parts first, and then you became your gig, and then you started writing. So like
the first song that I learned was Wave of Babies and Tempting Time. So Wave of Babies has this one groove in there that's like really challenging. I'll play that real quick.
Yeah.
That's basically it, you know. That's slower. That's definitely a lot slower because that's a groove that I need to like work up. I'm not warmed up right now, but yeah, that like getting all those ghost notes fucking perfect, and those like you know, that like snare on the E. I don't know. It's a tricky one. And then another tricky one is from Tempting Time, which is there's this hi-hat pattern, which is I think it's a 6 and a 5. Yeah. Yeah, it's a 6 and a 5. And then there's like this bass pattern happening underneath. And you'll see like there's some interplay where like the kick will hit and then 2 hi-hats will hit. And then sometimes a hi-hat will hit and then a kick will hit. Like sometimes they're together and sometimes they're totally fucking not. And that's like what is challenging about it. So yeah, I'll play that real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah,
so,
just a reminder for
I add like these open hi-hats in. That's like one of the things that I do that's different than the recording. But yeah, so I'm like trying not to do that, but
that's good. No, I wanted to tell everybody, remind everybody that if they wanted to grab your sticks, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, they can go to vicfirth.com and get 15% off. Just use VF signature. So just want to remind everybody about that. So Matt, when you had to learn all these other parts, and then did you guys start writing new music right away, or was it just to get out?
Yeah, we like came up with a couple things right away, and I think they're just trying to test the writing process, how it was with me, and whether I could like program superior. And yeah, I mean, I was able to do it, and like we were able to come up with some shit. So I think they were like, okay, this guy, he's not just a player, but he can also program. He also knows what he's doing in the grid. He can also freak some stuff to where we're like modulating to like a triplet feel or something like that. Like we're, just playing around with rhythmic ideas, or like I'm trying to contribute some rhythmic ideas. I'm not like contributing melodic ideas. That's
Yeah, but the stuff you're coming
they're
up with, man, is
so
killing.
harmonically advanced. It's like I'm not gonna write something more harmonically dope than you guys. Come on, you know.
Yeah, but what you bring to it is amazing. So good. Speaking of which, getting to that point, I mean, you are a really disciplined kind of guy. Like you seem to have a focus, and I have to assume that helped with your practicing. Like I've asked everybody this because I am fascinated by the opinions of especially the guys at your level. How you practice is so important. And can you give us a little bit of rundown on how you do that? How you approach practicing how to be the most effective, so you get the most out of it?
I am able to be very efficient now because I was very inefficient when I was younger. So I don't know that I'm the best. Like, don't listen to me if you want to get to this level by only practicing 3 hours a day. I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, if I did, I would have totally fucking done that. But what I'm saying is that I basically worked on as much stuff as I possibly could. Double bass, jazz. I was working on Latin stuff. I was working on just straight up groove, stuff with click. I was working on gospel chop stuff like hell of slow, trying to work out these patterns. I was working on different time signatures. Just everything. I was working on African stuff. Just anything that I could, like I had lists, like multiple lists. And like every couple or few months it would change. Sometimes I would map out all the stuff that I could play like stylistically, and like over on double bass land, I can play 16ths, triplets, I can play roughs, I can play 6-stroke rolls, I can, inverted doubles. I'm trying to get those still. Like, I don't know, I would like map out everything, and I don't know. I was working on chops a lot too, but like it was like an hour of this, an hour of that, maybe only a half hour of this, and it would take me like 2-3 days to cycle through all the things that I wanted to get through, and it required 6 to 8 hours every single day, and me doing that gave me a lot of facility. I will say that when I was in that mode, like it's a phase, you go through a phase where you're heavily packing. It's like you're bulking, you're packing on a bunch of ability and facility, and eventually you're going to shed some of that weight. Like, it's not all going to be useful stuff, but you try to bulk as much as you can, learn as much as you can, acquire as much as you can. And when you are doing that, it's going to be a phase that you might get stiff, you might get really in your head because there's so many options. It's like almost option paralysis. It's not going to be as much of like a natural musical flow, So like there's like a maturing that the material has to do inside of your brain, like over time. So yeah, I did that, and like then in my last year at Berklee, I started working on less of that like technical stuff, or less of the like rigid stuff, and I started like experimenting more creatively in the patterns I was playing and developing, and building my own material, and that's kind of where I started to like shed some of that dead weight. And sometimes I would be like, oh man, I used to be able to do this or that, but now it's all my favorite stuff that I'm playing. So cool. Yeah, I mean, and then the favorite patterns that I have, like I said, I mix them, I put them in different contexts. I don't know. You just keep putting them in different contexts and orchestrating them differently. You come up with new patterns that are based off of those simpler patterns, like a 5 pattern. Like I've come up with these like, instead of just like da 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 da, going da 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 da, and it's like playing those as singles is super efficient, so it can get really fast and blazing, and then it's like, okay, well, how am I gonna orchestrate this? I don't just want to stay on the snare and play hella fast. Like I want to be able to orchestrate this musically. So you slow it down, come up with a bunch of different orchestrations, and so I'm basically just taking all the stuff that I've learned, like from books and thinking methodically, and I'm applying those concepts to creative ideas that I have. And that's what I think people need to do. They need to develop themselves. Optimally develop creatively and technically at the same time, but the technical is there to support your creative development. But if your technical development is very stunted, which for a lot of people it is, then it's going to impact your ability to make the creative stuff come to light and be better supported and sound better, for you to be able to develop that stuff more. So then there's a small group of people that are super technically, like they're the people that should be accountants or something, people that are really good at focusing on very monotonous work and like getting stuff perfect. And they have a problem being creative and being like expressive and opening up in that way. So like that's a whole nother thing, and the remedy for that is music and, different styles of music and, just playing more, like most people like, and I was kind of in that category. Like I'd, wanted to develop myself super technically. So I'd focused on that a lot. So like my groove hadn't caught up to all the timing that I had, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, I think you've gotten there though. I mean, your groove is killing now. I mean, sounds really great.
It's come together nicely. The cake, it's gotten out of the oven. It's, it's solidified nicely, and now I can put the icing on, and it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's seriously. And then one of the things that when we transcribed, I think your VF Jams performance, you were very involved in that. Like you're really good at transcription stuff and writing.
That David Buell, or is that who did it?
Tim. Yeah, Tim
Buell.
He's a monster, man.
He is. He freaking nailed it.
Yeah.
And like, there's a couple things. Like, I'm very picky, and like, there's a couple things that I was like, no, this is wrong. And then he's like, well, hold on, look at the video. You actually hit. And I'm like, damn it, I did hit right. I'm like, this mother. Yeah. I mean, I've never been out transcribed. I would say he out transcribed me. I would say
he's a bad dude.
I would say that.
But
I have to, I'm
gotta
honest.
Give it.
You
gotta give it up.
Where credit is due, it must be given.
Yeah, he's great.
So I really didn't have anything to do with that transcription. He just nailed it.
Yeah. But you've done it before. I mean, I've seen some of the stuff you've done, and it's been like, wow, that's really great, amazing, really good stuff. And speaking of that, like you have your whole teaching thing that you're doing online now. It's got to be, like I think the latest series is what, the Mastering Time 1 and 2, I think. Right? You just came out the second part. You want to tell people a little bit about your what you're doing online and how how they can get connected with you or take lessons or.
Well, I don't really give lessons on Skype or in person. Really, it's so rare. Like I'm pretty selfish with my time, and the band takes up a lot of that, and I don't want to sacrifice like my creative time. But one way that I've gotten around it is like, okay, I create these lessons, I give the material, and, you know, it's not for the person. Like, there are people that need a person there telling them and instructing them, but there's also people like me who bought the Dave Weckl DVDs, the Dennis Chambers VHSs, the, you know, Kenwood Denard stuff, the Steve Jordan. What other DVDs did I get?
Probably Gad.
I didn't get a GAD DVD. I never got my
Wow.
hands on one. Yeah,
Wow.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
I had a Hudson. Like, it was like a preview thing, and like they would give one scene from each thing, and so I got a Steve Gadd scene on that. But yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do, is like be like, okay, it's a la carte. So you choose what you want to work on. Like, I have a single pedal lesson. It's like 20, 30 minutes. And it's all stuff with developing the right foot, different patterns to clean up the right foot. And to, expand your facility. And it's like there's patterns that I've gotten over the years, and then there's like patterns that I've developed specifically to work on my foot to get it in shape for animal stuff, for just my own playing. So I don't know. That's basic. It's all my material. You know, it's all stuff that I've used over the years, and I'm still using it. I'm still practicing the stuff that's on my website.
So for some of the people who haven't been to the website yet, can you give a taste or show us a little something they can find on there, and then maybe that'll get them to go check out the other stuff?
Yeah, maybe I should. So like, so Mastering Time has like, the first one is more click based and like click exercises. The second one is more about like learning the different time signatures. And one thing that I thought would be really cool is to have a different loop for each time signature that people could play to, like for hours on end, basically. So, hold on. I'm trying to organize this session a little bit. I'll play one of those. My favorite is kind of the 5 loop. It's pretty chill, but it's a good one. Yeah, let's see. Yeah. All right, so I'll play to that.
Okay.
For me, like, one of the most important tools that I have in my bag is being able to play to loops. And so one thing that, like, usually I'm going to do a performance for you guys, but usually when I'm playing to this stuff, what I'll do is I'll play 4 bars, and maybe I'll do it that way first. That's what I should do to really give an example to, if I'm going to be an educator right now. Let me be an educator. All right. This is what I do, guys. This is how I practice shit. I just repeat it. Like, that's what I do. So I'll pick a pattern. I'll play it for 4 bars just to ensure that I actually have it down and that I have control over it. And sometimes it's, the very first bar is going to be probably improvised to some degree, not 100% sure on what I'm going to play. So the point is to do that first, and then to have the ability to repeat that pattern. And what you're doing is you're re-inputting that into your system. What you're also doing is giving yourself the opportunity to solidify what that pattern is and like how it feels, and to gain control over it and to feel confident with it. So it might not be 4 bars. It might be 8. It might be 16. It might be even longer for a very simple pattern. The most important thing is to be willing to sit there and repeat that pattern until you have it down. And not till you get bored, but have the discipline to repeat it until you have it down. So that's basically what I do. And then I'll make small alterations. So every 4 bars, I'll usually do like a small, and if it's something that I'm sucking at, like I'll stay on it for 8, 12 bars. And so I kind of make these small adjustments every 4 bars. And it's kind of like starting with a simple groove, adding one little thing. And then the next 4 bars, you add another little thing. You add another little thing. And then all of a sudden, you've got like 5, 6, 7, 8 new things added into one groove. And, you know, it's like stacked, you know? So, anyways.
That's cool.
So that's where I'm going to cut it off. All right. So, yeah, let me just do 4-bar phrases. Did you guys see me punish myself at the end? Did you see that? I messed that up just a little bit. So I was like, now you got to play it
all over.
I don't know. Might have.
Yeah, but I like that. I see what you're
on
talking
that.
about. I see what you're talking about, the stacking. You just keep adding a little bit.
Yeah, and
cool.
sometimes it just changes, you know? But the point also in these loops is I tried to set it up so where it's like, this is the most typical way that 5 is played, which is 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. I mean, Take Five. That song, Take Five. The only drum solo that was ever number one. That's based off of 3322. And most 5 is. So, anyways,
That's cool.
now that I've kind of demonstrated how I practice, now I can, like, so you develop all these little tools, you develop all these little isms, and so, and you develop them in a way that they really get under your hands, and you're trying to input it into you more. You're like, I like that, more of that. Like, good boy, do more of that. Play clean. Yes, know what you're playing. It's just, yeah, it's like, because that's one of the things that they say is to practice. Perfect practice makes perfect. And it's like, it's nearly impossible to always practice perfectly, but you're trying to get as comfortable as you can. And so I gave these loops at different tempos too, so people can slow, so they have slower versions or faster versions, and then you can slow or speed up from there. If you have any sort of program, Amazing Slow Downer, you just have Logic. What was I saying? Sorry, I kind of lost it there.
That's all right.
Oh yeah, you basically want to be able to change the stage, like slow stuff down, slow the tempo down of the loop or whatever it is, so that you're most comfortable and that you're playing as close to perfect as you can. You do have to be careful because I don't know if you guys are familiar with flow state when you're flowing, but like there's like, being aroused, which is like, you're playing your jam and you're like, hell yeah. And like you can mess up and like you're just so stoked to be playing drums and to be like smashing on the kit that you don't care that you just screwed up, But then there's like, so you want to not go into like the super arousal state, it's almost like a meditative state, but you also got to be careful that you don't focus so much and slow things so much down that you can't focus, that then your CPU is only at like 40 or 50%, and then other things start creeping into that 50%, like your laundry at home or whatever, or what your girlfriend said to you earlier, or who the hell knows. Right. A million things can creep into your mind when you're practicing. So part of it's
the distraction.
Part of it is about learning to engage yourself in a way, and learning how to kind of hack your own brain. Half of it's, sheer force, and then
that's amazing to me. That's the thing that I think is sometimes downplayed. The ability, like yourself and other guys like you, to be able to shut everything out and just focus, like that. That's amazing. It's not as easy for some people to do that.
I attribute it to my slow brain, honestly. If I was smarter, like there would be a lot of more stuff coming in.
Oh, stop it.
Not much stuff is going in or out, so like only one thing at a time. I'm kind of that person, like, and I've become that person where it's like one thing at a time. Like I have one session, I'm like, that's my thing. Like the Vic Firth thing, how like I kind of stopped working out. Like everything in that week before it is literally molded around that one event. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And like I don't have a lot of like, I'm not the type of person that does well with like 50 gigs going on at one time or like this stuff. Like
yeah, but you figured yourself out. That, like you said, you have to figure out how to hack your brain. Like you figured out what works for you, and obviously it works very well.
Yeah.
So I want to shift gears a minute. I want to get into your stick a bit.
I was gonna hold on. I was gonna play.
Oh, go ahead. I'd rather hear you play.
I was gonna go off on this mother.
No, do it.
Something. See, I caught myself.
That was good. We're learning. We're learning.
I'm 31 years old, still learning. It's not gonna stop. It won't. All right. So yeah, let me show y'all some of the stuff that I've developed over this 5 loop.
Ah, that's simple, huh? Just do it like that. Freaking
Yeah.
crazy. That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
Yep.
And when you're doing it, are you thinking through? Are you thinking 3-3-2-2? Are you thinking 5? Are you thinking that? Or are you just going?
Uh, I mean, I'm conscious, dooms, gas, dooms. It's got a feel to it, like,
Yeah, yeah.
like just like that little triplet. It's like I'm aware that it's a triplet, you know,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's just hearing it, and sometimes it's being like, I'm gonna play that triplet, and sometimes with the 4 stuff, I just hear it now. Like, I'll be like, that was actually, that was a 5 at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, I'll just start hearing that. So like when I go into it, I'm obviously aware. Okay, I mean, it's like asking somebody. So when you start playing triplets, are you aware that you're playing triplets? It's like it certainly helps to be aware that I'm playing triplets. When I'm playing triplets, like it minimizes the likelihood that I'm gonna screw it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that can easily happen. That's why it's good to, at some point, be super conscious of that stuff, at least. Because if you never reach that hyper conscious level, it's going to be harder to tap into and check into, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Kind of like mental math, like being like, you know, what's 13 times 4? Oh, 52. Sick.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's cool. All right, so I want to talk about your stick, man.
Yep.
Your signature stick. What?
Yeah, I'm not even using it right now, honestly. It's not that great of a stick.
That's not
Is that
the
what
thing
you wanted
to say.
talk about? Did
No,
you
no,
notice?
it's not. We wanted to go the opposite direction of that.
Oh, weird. No, I'm joking. Of course. Like that's all I'm using, honestly. Like some cats, I know they got their signature and they'll use other sticks for other things. And I used to use like 55As for certain things, 5Bs for certain things, or like some like more jazzy type sticks for other things. This works literally for everything I do. So I don't have to change sticks.
Yeah, and when we did that, you had a very specific thought in mind for it.
Yeah.
And
I wanted it
why?
to be powerful, powerful enough to smash with it with animals, but I also wanted it to be finessed enough that I could do kind of stuff like this where I'm like, you know, just like being able to use the stick, like how jazz cats like kind of throw their sticks around. They have lighter sticks, you know, they're not hitting as hard. So like when you get the bulky when you get 5Bs, like that stuff, unless you're a hella jacked up dude, like you're not going to be able to be finesse with that. And even those dudes tend to be not finesse. Like you got a bigger weight that you got to throw around, you know? So the idea was I really like the 55As, but they were a bit top heavy, which is good for animals bashing, but it's not really good for like animals chopping or like the jazzier shit. So I was like, if we can take off some of this, then it will be a more
less heavy, top heavy.
Yeah. Like not finessed, but it'll have
more rebound.
Agility.
Yep.
More agility, like more able to throw it around, basically.
Yeah. And one of the things we did with you is you're one of the few people that actually have been to the factory, which is we had a lot of fun of it that day. Like the beginning video of the video, and we'll do one at the end, is a solo you did actually for all the factory workers up there, which is awesome. But while you were there,
awesome.
they're great people.
It was sick
up there,
to meet that. Yeah.
They're just beautiful people. And one of the things you did was you did a tour, like, and then you were like, man, I got it. Let me do a version, my own version of the tour. So I thought it'd be fun to show a couple of those clips that from Matt Garstka doing a Vic Firth tour.
Let's do
some of those.
That's loud enough! Is it too loud? Hey! I'm Matt! I'm here beside the stand-up! This is where all the towels are smoothed down and turned so that you're straight up and straight up! It's a superior process! And here, you can see there's a very sophisticated form of how this machine works! So this is where they separate and organize, they orient the stick so that the strongest wood is at the tip, which is the thinnest part. And they also PSA inspection occurs, and if they do not meet criteria, then they are tossed into the trash.
They are tossed into the trash. So German.
Which is
They do
actually-
not meet the requirements.
Which actually they go into the burner so that we fuel the plant with it. We don't waste any of this. We don't throw
Right,
anything
right.
out. But and all the people. It
I
was
should
the
have said
best.
garbage. They are thrown into the garbage. Fancy.
It was so great because all the workers were looking over like, what is this guy okay? Who's this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And then when
couldn't-
you lifted up the thing for the machine, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna lose a limb. He's gonna get his hand cut off." And everybody was freaking out.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good. Wait, I gotta show another one. I gotta do one more.
Okay.
It's so good.
Sorry! Where all the sticks are tumbled! And they roll around in it for an hour! And they fix it after a while! Yo, this is the paint room. And I call it a happy room because it smells funny, but you have fun. Everything is awesome. And over here, you can smell the sticks. Yeah.
Don't let me be myself.
It's so good. It's so great.
I often I'm too much myself. If you let me, I will.
Yeah, it was
I
so
will-
great.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, what were your impressions up there? I mean, most people don't get it, man. Like they don't, like they don't. I've seen drums being made. I've seen everything made. I never have seen so much work going into making two pieces of wood that you eventually break. There's so many steps to make it, and people don't believe it. They don't. It's the real big difference between Vic and a lot of other brands. And
Yeah.
I don't want to lead
yeah.
the witness, but I mean, tell people the truth, what you think. I mean, you were there, you saw
I
it.
mean, it's the thing that you're holding, like it's the most important thing in terms of feel, like tuning is huge. The sound of the drum is huge for a drummer, but like ultimately, if your sticks don't feel right, you're not gonna play right. It affects you, and you might not I didn't realize it as a beginner, but like in the last I guess in my early 20s I started to no, it's not until I was 23 that I started to realize, hold on, when I use different sticks, it makes me play different. I play different stuff. I play a different way. And that was kind of like the starter for me, oh, this is more important. I just overlooked it, it's really easy to. It's just two pieces of wood. Like some people use there's all types, there's 100 different sticks out there. People can make all sorts of stuff work, but it definitely contributes to playing style. And I mean, for it not to be tuned, for the stick to be tuned right, that's a problem. And I've realized that with certain sticks like Vader's, they're more they're just heavier, or they feel more like wet logs or something, they're they don't have the crispness that Vic has. There's a crispiness that Vic, why is that? Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, it's the difference between when you see really good furniture, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice how the drawers open even in the humidity. You know how you ever get any drawers that when it's really humid out, you can't open the drawers.
Nah, man.
I'm
used to
if you
using
get cheap,
loose ass drawers and cheap
right.
shit.
Well, if you get cheap, if it's real cheap and it's in the humid, sometimes the drawers will stick, right? But in good
Okay.
furniture, it never does, and it's because it's the moisture content, and what they do they dry it at a certain level. So they do it at the moisture level that's the best for basically what good, excellent furniture is done at. So that allows the stick to have that, exactly what you're talking about. If you have too much moisture, there's so much moisture content.
That varies between stick companies.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. It depends on what they deem acceptable. You could have a lot more moisture content. The wood might be a little heavier, but then once the temperature, humidity changes, the stick goes. It stresses the wood out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
there's
think
a lot of variables.
Talking about this now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to show one more video of that from there. I got to do one more, and then let's take some questions from people, and then we can wrap this up.
Okay.
All right, one more.
Here's where the sticks must meet a certain weight criteria range. And each stick is separated into its weight category so that the sticks are paired with an equal weight. Here is where they must meet a criteria of frequency range. They are struck 3 times to decipher the fundamental tone of each stick. Each stick is then categorized into a certain bin dependent upon their pitch, and each stick is hand tested by me. I stay here 6 months out of the year, making sure that your sticks are at the right pitch.
That is true. I spend a quite an amount of time. No, I feel like that's dangerous. Like when I was saying that, I was like, oh, I wonder if somebody would complain. Is Matt really testing the sticks, or like does he like really? Is he though?
So I want to remind everybody, if anybody's got questions, throw them out your way, and we're going to take them in a second. I did want to hit one thing with you, Matt, that I forgot. Your Twitch thing. Well, a couple projects, what you're working on right now. I mean, I know you got the Victoria thing project you got going on, and then you also you're doing a lot of Twitch. Why don't you give everybody a little rundown of what you're doing on both those?
Yeah, so I've started streaming on Twitch. It's a like a video game platform, but there's definitely like an growing population of musicians that are streaming on there. And yeah, for me, it's like, I play to like hip hop stuff and like, back that ass up, or like fucking Ja Rule, or like Twista or Ludacris. And it's like, where else am I gonna be able to do this? And I don't know. So I can do that on Twitch. So that was kind of like the initial thought for me. And like, also I'm not getting to play out, so it's nice to have something that I look forward to every week. Okay, let me prep let me think of a couple songs to play. And it's like, it's kind of low pressure, because it's not like, it's very transient, because it's a stream and it's not like immortalized like on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. So I don't know, it's kind of an experiment for me right now. But yeah, I also end up like playing to a bunch of loops that I have on there. I end up, answering people's questions that are technical questions, or just, questions about, I don't know, like my history or whatever, like how I got the gig, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's new for me. And if you guys have Amazon Prime, then you can actually subscribe to my channel for free, because you can get Twitch Prime, and it costs nothing for you. Yeah, so
that's cool.
I get $5, and it costs you nothing. And you get to see me. You'll get a notification that I'm live, and yeah, you can come crash the party. But anyways, so there's that. Victoria. That's a project that I have with this guy Josh De La Victoria. He's a motherfucker.
Dude, it's so good. The little bit I've heard I stumbled on it because of your website. I was looking at it, and I stumbled on it. I'm like, this is amazing, man.
Yeah, you
like,
should check
I
out
want to
his
get
Instagram,
more of it.
Josh De La. Check out his
so good.
Instagram. He's ridiculous.
How'd you hook up with him?
And he's raw. He's not like some guys. They like alter their audio. Like Josh is crazy clean. I hooked up with him because when my dad moved out here, like 4 or 5 years back, he started playing in this bar band, and Josh had been playing in this bar band since he was 13 years old. So kind of like me, how I was playing in bars when I was like, 12, 13. But he was just like ripping, and I was like, damn, this kid's, and my dad's like, trust me, man, this kid's amazing, blah, blah, he's gonna, like, I'm telling you, man, and like, I'm like, all right, Dad, geez, like, really, like, forcing this guy, but like, I'm so glad that he did, because like, Josh is incredible, and yeah, so we did the Modern Value record. And then we've had 2 singles released, Kepler and Iris, and we've got another one coming out, Perennial, and that's coming out by the end of this month, actually. And then there's going to be, look out on Meinl's channel for a video that we're releasing of the playthrough. So anyways, yeah, that's that project.
It's so good though, man. It's killing a little bit. I heard.
Yeah, man, and he gets the metric modulation stuff, and he like I remember teaching it to him and being like, and he's like, hold on, so what? Like, he's trying to wrap his head, but he picked it up so freaking quicker than drummers. Like, he's just a workaholic. He's like just obsessed. Like, he's so obsessive, like, and just incessant, like, very high aptitude too, like very gifted as well. So it's like, I'm a little jealous, man. I'm like, damn, it took me years to fucking
he just picked it up like
down.
that.
and I just teach it to him, and then all of a sudden he's got it. It's like, all right.
Or you're just an amazing teacher.
I gotta keep practicing, man. Or I'm just an amazing teacher. Yeah, thank you. Yes, well, that may be true. All
right, let's take some questions.
There's also Kazimir Libersky. Check out that project. That shit is crazy. That is banana nuts. He's a mad piano genius. He got the presidential scholarship to Berklee, which is like full ride. They take care of everything. There's only like 6 or 8 people that get it a year. And he's like, it's like crazy, kind of like an acid trip. But it's super proggy. And I put a lot of effort into that recording and prepping that material. Check it out. Kazimir, Casimir, and then Libersky, Liberski. Polish.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
all right, let's see what we got for questions here. All right, which musicians did you study the most?
Dave Weckl, Vinnie Colaiuta. Then next would be Gary Novak.
Oh, Gary's so good.
Dennis Chambers, Billy Cobham, Steve Gadd. Hold on, did it say musicians or drummers?
You say musician, yeah. So not just drummers.
Chick
everything.
Corea.
Yeah.
Chick Corea. Who else? Meshuggah.
Yeah.
Somebody told me about them when I was like 16. This metal dude, and just like hearing about he's like, it's all in 4/4, and they're doing all this crazy polyrhythmic stuff under the measure, and I was like, what? And like I had not really heard of that before. So like, I'd listened to Catch 33, and I started I remember being in the shower like counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, and then I'd 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. Oh, they hit the 1. It's really in 4/4. It's 8. And like 8 after 8 measures, they're playing all this crazy shit underneath, and then like trying to hear it, how those patterns are evolving, under the beat, and not getting lost in your mind. Still hearing it in 4/4, but still trying to hear and predict where the pattern is gonna
Yeah, it's
hit,
crazy.
you know? So like that was a pretty integral part of expanding my conscious on the polyrhythmic aspect.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Do you think that starting to take drumming seriously at 27 is too late? I've been gigging locally for a while, but now I want to go study to New York or somewhere and try to do it professionally. So basically, do you think it's ever too late?
I don't. I don't. I don't because I think it's more dependent upon, you know, like if you want to do it professionally, like there's all sorts of people that start later, and make it professionally. It's just a matter of your work ethic, your time management is going to be, because it's different developing yourself as an adult, which, you know, it's hard for me, like managing all this adult crap. Like it's not as simple as when I was in my parents' basement and, you know, I didn't have to worry about bills or this or that. It was just school. Just go to school 6 hours a day. Okay, now I don't have to think about anything else.
Yep.
So I understand that. So that's where the time management thing comes into play. But it's not just about time management. It's also about knowing precisely what direction you want to go into, because then you can focus your energy all around hitting that goal. Whereas if you're just like, I want to get great at drums, that's just like it's like, yeah, that's good for 14-year-old Matt who's like, I want to be one of the best. I want to be great at everything. And he's going to spend 6 to 8 hours a day in his parents' basement practicing, you know, and prepping for years. But for somebody that's like, 27 years old, you probably got bills, you probably got real man stuff to handle, you know, maybe a family, like, you're going to have to focus up your goal, like have a precise goal. And maybe just for now, it's not the big goal. Like you have a 1 or 2 year plan and you're like, I want to play. Well, right now I'm playing a bunch of bar gigs. It's not going to be a thing. But I mean, that's what I would say is like, okay, I'm going to do this for, you know, in 1 year, I'm going to try to be playing out every weekend. And I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly
you're just going to have to focus up. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Hardest song you've ever had to track on the drums? 2.
BJ Sticks. What's up? I think it's off the Casimir album. Let me see. The name of the album is Cosmic Liberty, by the way. Yeah, maybe Cosmic Liberty. Yeah, maybe that one. I don't know. I think it's this album. I would say that's the hardest album I've ever had to track. Was the Cosmic Liberty one.
Cool.
It's like the most challenging material.
Definitely have to check that out.
Yeah.
That sounded
New
great
Life
too.
was hard. That song. And then there's one that's Odysseia. And it's not like the whole song is hard. There's just this one particular section, which is the hardest part that I've ever had to record. It's septuplets. And there's like alternating, there's like 13 happening underneath with the kick pattern. and like 13 and 12, like some messed up shit where it's like, yo, it doesn't even help to know these numbers. That I just got to learn these accents and these placements, like, because I'm not going to hear the 13 or the 12 under septuplets, bro. Like, what? Like, sometimes I had moments where I'm like, dude, do you really expect me to play this? Like, what the fuck? It's like, yo, it's almost disrespectful. It's like, and I know he's not like trying to be like, you know, I'm gonna make it so hard you can't play it. Like, he's not that type of guy. He's just like, yeah, I came up with this crazy part, and it's like, yeah, well, dude, you know how many hours I had to put in to learn that one little freaking 30 seconds? Like, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, there's a big, long... Someone said, I'm on Odyssea right now. Yeah, it's a big, long piano intro and everything. And, but, like, yeah, it gets going in the middle, like halfway through or something.
So James Kramer has, how do you break writer's block when writing original material with other musicians?
Well, sometimes you just need time, you know? Changing, like, if you're hitting it every day trying to write something, like, you know, you're probably not gonna come up with the best new idea. So maybe try a different song. I'm assuming this is a song. You're having writer's block with a song. In that case, try writing a different song and see if that works, you know? Go in a different direction and then return. We do that with animals. Like, we'll write something and we'll like take a break from it, and then we'll go back and we'll listen, and guess what? We know exactly what we need to do when we listen back because we have fresh ears. We haven't been narrowly, you know, focused on it. So there's that, and then there's like maybe you're just getting sick of the guys that you're playing with, or you're getting like, you know, just like, what are we going to do sort of thing. So, you know, maybe everybody kind of takes some time away and go listen to some different music, change things up for yourself, put yourself in a different headspace. You can't control the other guys, but maybe you can bring something, or girls, but you can bring something new to the table. So.
Excellent. All right, let's do one more. It's been an hour and 45 minutes, so I'm going to let you go. Let's do this as the last one. BJ Morgan, what are some of your long-term career goals? Where do you see yourself at age 40 and or 50?
So I want to be like a cat that is a performer, like a live performer, a guy that delivers crazy live shows where it's like, yo, this guy is the legit motherfucker. But I also want to be a recording artist where you can, and not like Vinnie Colaiuta or these older guys where it's like, you know, they have hundreds, thousands of records that they've played on. And then it's like, oh, well, which one of these am I going to listen to? Okay, let me pick out one. And then you're like, okay, it's Vinny, but is it Vinny being Vinny? You know, like, I don't want to be that. I want to be like, to where you hear it and you're like, yeah, that's Matt Garstka being Matt Garstka. Like, that's kind of what I want to do, is have a repertoire at the end of my life where I'm like, this is my discography, and I'm like, all of this is me. You know, this is, I'm happy with all this. I don't have any records that I'm on that I regret being on, or, you know, that I did for a payday or whatever. Like, for me, it's about creative output and playing with musicians that I'm stoked to play with as well. So 40 or 50, yeah, hopefully I reach, you know, legendary status, you know, like freaking Dave Weckl, Vinny, those guys. I want to be, you know, I want to be held in people's hearts, you know, and I want to not just like for people, the accolades or people's respect, but for like, I want to be a part of changing the drum community and furthering us forward. You know, I want to be a leader in an animalistic way.
Nice. All right, man. Very cool. I appreciate you doing this for us. I really do.
Hey.
And I think, judging by the comments, people are real happy you did it too. And, you know, this stuff will live up on our YouTube page and things like that. And, you know, I've told you this before, but it really is an honor to have you on the roster, part of the family. Really, really do appreciate you.
I'm honored to be a part of the family, man.
Yeah, man.
Really.
It's pretty
And
awesome.
thank you for having me. And yeah, thank everybody. Thank you for coming, dropping in, and commenting, and all that.
Yeah, and everybody check out Matt's website. Check out what he's doing there. Got a lot of good stuff. You can learn a lot of stuff from him on Twitter, on Twitch, not Twitter. And don't forget to buy his sticks at 15% off right now, vicfort.com.
Ooh.
Just use VS
Discount,
Signature.
baby. Come on. Help me buy some coffee. You know what I'm saying? I got a coffee addiction, and it keeps me drumming, so.
All right, Matt, we're going to let you go, brother.
Thing.
We're going to let you go. And in the process, right as we walk out, we're going to listen to one of the solos you did up at the factory. And
Nice.
what's his name again?
Oh, yeah.
Alistair Taylor took that
So-
solo. You got to tell that story, and then we'll roll it out.
Basically, this, like, they were just solos. Like, I just played, like, I was like, I do this, like, at every event that I have. Basically, I'm like, yo, I have to practice before. And they're like, what? You know? I think you guys were totally you're like, totally, yeah. But sometimes at clinics, they're like, you need an hour or two to practice before the like, clinicians don't do this. I'm like, why are they not, like, prepping themselves, like, cleaning their shit up before people come see them? But anyways, like, yeah, I warmed up all nice. I did all the right things. It was just getting my hands in tune, and then I was like, I had no idea what I was going to play, so I just, like, I busted out one solo, busted out another, and then a third, and it was just, like, off the cuff, and then Alistair writes music to it, and it's, like, sounds like a composition, like a song, like I played the drums to it in the first place.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, pretty cool.
All right.
It's a unique skill.
It is.
Definitely.
It is. And he did a great job with it too. So we'll listen to a little of that as we sign off here. But thanks everybody. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Matt, very much as always.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you in a sec. All right.